Welcome, everyone. So let's dive into the training for today. So this masterclass is for you if you want to become more conversational in French. Also, this masterclass is for you if you have been struggling with consistency. We are going to see ways you can stay more consistent. Also, this class is for you if you want to make real progress in your French speaking, but you are not too sure what to do. And also, I would add that this class is perfect for you if you want to make progress this year before the end of the year, because we are getting into a period of the year where it's like transitional. It's not yet December and Christmas and all the celebration because December, it's a hard time to really focus on your French. It's not just yet November, so it's really time for you to work hard so you can get some results before we start 2026. I can't believe 2026 is coming so soon. So, in this masterclass today, we are going to focus on three main things. In the first part of this training, we are going to go through 7 steps to be more confident in your conversation in 7 days. I'm going to break that down for you. Then I want to focus on one specific strategy that I really want all of you to follow when you leave this class. And after that, we are going to work on an action plan because I'm going to give you tips on what you should do to get results in 7 days. But then we are going to see, okay, what is the action plan and how I put together all this information. Also, of course, at the end of this training, you will have a surprise. So I have many surprises for you today. And also because you are here live, you are all getting a bonus. I created a lesson. It's 100 phrases for conversations that are not taught in books. So I'm really excited about this lesson that you guys all get. I will share the link in the chat at the end of the lesson. So you can just copy and paste, click the link and download the lesson and have access to it. So bonjour, bonjour. I think in this call today, everyone knows me, I think. Let me know in the chat if it is your first live lesson with me or just lesson with me. But very quickly, also for the students who are going to watch the replay, bonjour, je suis Perle or Pearl in English. I was born in Paris, en France, and I have been teaching French for 9 years. This year is going to be 10. I can't believe it's been 10 years teaching adults. Also, I live in Australia, in Melbourne. I love Australia. It's been an amazing experience for me. And my teaching approach is quite, I want to say, unconventional because I'm all about simplifying. With me, it's always going to be simple as possible, because you know that French can be quite complex sometimes. So my teaching style, it's all about simplifying and also creating a stress-free environment. I always want you to feel like you are learning French with a friend rather than a teacher. So for me, that connection is really important because we all know that learning French and speaking French can be daunting, but not in this environment. So now, you know me, I know you, we know each other. We are going to dive into the first part of this training. I'm reading the chat. The workbook would not download. Can someone please put the workbook in the chat? I know a student was able to do that in my other class because this workbook will help you follow along. You can take the notes without the workbook, but it's true that the workbook will help you because it has the different part in it. And I'm sorry you were not able to download it. Anyone else had an issue downloading the workbook? It's not essential, but it's going to help. Thank you so much, Sore. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, for putting the workbook in the chat. So the workbook has all the different parts that we are going to cover, so it will help you take notes and follow along. So in this first part, we are going to dive into the 7 steps that you want to follow. So here it's interesting because there are steps, but there are also strategies. You will see here, I have put together a framework for us. So here, the first question that I get from people is why 7 days? Why do a masterclass about learning in 7 days? So here, your brain and your life can commit to 7 days. We all have tried, diets, and we are really consistent for a week. We can do it, but then weirdly, after a week, it becomes a bit tricky. So here, studies on habit formation, they show that people are 65% more likely to complete a 7-day challenge rather than a 30-day challenge. If I said to you, hey, let's go for a 1 hour like run every day for 7 days or every day for 30 days, what do you think you are going to stick to? More than 7 days. So here, 7 days, it's enough time for you to stay focused, and it's also long enough for you to see results. Now, in 7 days, are you going to be completely fluent in 7 days? No. But can you make real progress in 7 days rather than even 6 months' time? I promise you that yes. So here, the framework we are going to use for those steps. It is the speaker framework. Guys, I work so hard to be able to come up with a word that we can memorize. So it is the speaker framework. So let's have a look at this framework. So the first step here that we want to be able to improve our French in 7 days. We want to simplify. As I just said before, it's my way of teaching. This is what I do all the time, to simplify. So in 1 week, what you want to do is to skip the grammar and focus on vocabulary. Why? In 1 week, you won't have enough time to cover any useful grammar. In 1 week, you can't even cover the present tense with regular verbs, irregular verbs. So when you're going to take that week, you skip the grammar altogether. Here, what you want to do, you want to prioritize words and phrases that help you speak right away. For example, if I say, qu'est-ce que tu en penses? Qu'est-ce que tu en penses? What do you think? If you look at the sentence, qu'est-ce que tu en penses? Why do I have this en here? Because en also means in. When I say, oh, j'habite en Australie, I live in Australia. Why grammatically do we have this en here? What's the grammar behind? So here, during that week, we do not have time for those details, if I can say that. What you want to do is to memorize that what do you think is qu'est-ce que tu penses. And when you're going to simplify, you're also going to see that your French is not going to be, how am I going to say, you won't have to go so much in your head to translate. Because sometimes students, they struggle so much to go from English to French. You really want to have phrases coming out of your mouth without you thinking so much about the grammar. Don't get me wrong, the grammar is necessary. I love to teach grammar, but when you have 1 week, you cannot spend your time trying to understand why en is here. Qu'est-ce que you just know, okay, this is how you do it. Fine, this is how I'm going to memorize it. Same thing for tu fais quoi ce week-end? Tu fais quoi ce week-end? Okay, why do we have this quoi here? Tu fais quoi ce week-end? What is the grammar behind? We don't want to worry about it. We just want to know that tu fais quoi ce weekend means what are you doing this weekend? And I'm telling you, when you focus on those phrases, you get so much more confidence because you know this is how people say. Maybe you're not sure about the grammar behind, but this is how people say, you know you're safe. Because French people are not going to walk around being like, can you explain to me why you put this word? No, no, no. People just want to understand you. So here, we skip the grammar, we focus on vocab. So this is the first step. Then we are going to talk about the second step or second strategy, which is my P. Okay, speaker, we did the S, simplify, P, prioritize. Here you want to cut the fluff because not all vocabulary is created equal. Meaning, now that you know that the focus is vocabulary, you need to choose the right vocabulary because once again, you don't need to know every single word of the French language to be able to hold a conversation, to be able to become fluent. In the French dictionary, they are around 15,000 words. Do you need to know 15,000 words? Absolutely not. To be fluent, you need and have conversations, you need to know 3,000 to 3,500 words. This is where you want to get. So here you want to choose the right vocabulary. And how are you going to pick the right vocabulary? It's going to be the vocabulary that you use for conversation, useful phrases, connectors, conversation starters, and also exit phrases. I always say it is great to know how to start a conversation. It's also great to know how to leave. It was great talking to you. How do you translate that? You see here how your mind goes, okay, it was great talking to you. Actually, can you put that in the chat? How do you say it was great talking to you? Let's try to see if you know that phrase. So here you see why phrases are important. It was great, so we know we have past tense. Is it passé composé? Is it imparfait? Okay, it was great talking to you. It was great talking to you. How are you going to translate even that talking, that ing? That's interesting. Let's try to translate that in the chat. So you see here's those phrases, super useful. How are we going? So yes, oui. So here, c'était incroyable de te parler. Okay, incroyable. So here it was incredible to talk to you. It was great. C'était incroyable de te parler. Well done, Jess, because you put de te. C'était incroyable de te parler. Here you see this ing. So it's in the chat. It's Jess that put that in the chat. Merci, Jess. So here, this talking, this ing, we're using an infinitive er. You see how, okay, it's great to know that it's an infinitive, but like, it's just great to know that this is how you say it. That's why I'm telling you, grammar, you need it. Don't get me wrong, you need it, but you don't need to become a pro at grammar, okay? When you are going to learn those phrases, you will be able to just give it to me. That's why when people move, for example, to France and they don't even take French lessons, they end up being fluent so fast. Why? Because of everything they hear around. They don't take a number of crazy lessons. They just, listen what's around and they have it. Okay? So here, c'était incroyable de te parler. So incroyable here, the only thing I would say is it's a bit strong. I would say if I'm talking to Michelle Obama, it would be incredible. But if you just, catch up with someone in the street, you would say c'était super, c'était génial. Because there's also things that are colloquial. You have things that it is grammatically correct, but it is not how people would say. And in French, you've got so many phrases like this where people are going to understand you, but they're going to say, actually, this is not exactly how we say. That's why I created also this bonus with phrases that people actually say, because you want to sound like, you are a local. Now let's move on to our next step, the step 3, which is our E. So here is to engage with audio only. Engage with audio only. Listen more, write less. This is really, really important. In that week, we listen more, we write less. Why? When you listen to a lesson or you listen to an audio and you stop constantly to take notes, it slows you down. I know that writing helps. Even myself, I always have a pen next to me. I'm always taking notes. And most of us, this is how we memorize. We memorize by taking notes and writing things. Remember, we have 1 week. We have to make choices. And here, writing is going to slow you down. When you listen, it really allows you to learn quicker. Remember what I said just before. When people move to a country and they are immersed, they don't even need to take a French lesson because they are going to listen what's around them. And also, when you hear words repeatedly, you train your brain to recognize, words and patterns and pronunciation. So here, you really, really want during that week to focus on audios. You see here how I did not mention books. I'm not mentioning books. I'm not mentioning worksheets. I'm not mentioning any of that. Just listen during this week. Listening is extremely powerful. Unfortunately, people don't spend enough time listening and being exposed to the language, and it makes a huge difference. Because I know sometimes we want to practice, but if you don't listen and you don't understand what people are saying, it's going to be really hard to even practice your speaking. And by listening, I promise you, you will also improve your speaking as well. After that, we have step 4A, adapt to your goals. Learn what serves you. So I have a question for you. Why are you learning French? Why are you here after work learning French with me? Why are you learning French? I love this question about the why because everybody has a different why. Some people they want to learn French for work. Other people it's just personal pleasure. They just love the culture and they always wanted to learn French. Other people is because maybe they have family members or their partner is has his French, so they want to be able to connect. Everyone has different reasons to learn French. Maybe you want to move to France. There are so many reasons. Or maybe you just love the language. I love Italian just because I love the way it sounds. Sometimes the reason doesn't have to be profound, but the reason is always personal. So that's why when you are going to pick the vocabulary, you really want to make sure that it resonates with your goals, okay? Your immediate goals. So for example, someone who's learning for work, you want to learn more professional French. Maybe you have to do presentation, maybe you have to do meetings with French people. So in that week, because remember we have 7 days, this is what you want to focus on first. Maybe someone else wants to visit France, so they pretty much have to learn how to order food or buy a train ticket. So you see, in 1 week, people are going to learn different things. Another very important thing about adapting your vocabulary to your goals, you also make sure you are matching your level. The resources you are using are matching your level. Because most of the time, I see students who are using resources that are way too hard for them or way too easy. So here, pick resources that are going to suit your level. After that, we have K. Keep revisiting. Keep revisiting. Repetition equals retention. So here, for the students who are in my classroom, you might say to me, but Pearl, you do say sometimes that you don't want students to revisit. I do. Because, for example, a program like the classroom, which is my signature program, and we work on grammar and we work on vocabulary, but the grammar is really deep. I'm really teaching everything. It's a course that takes 6 months minimum to a year to several years if you do several levels. When you revisit a 6 months course, it means that it takes you a full year. And just finishing 6 months, it's already hard enough. That's why I say to students, you don't need to revisit every single thing because don't worry, the things are going to repeat themselves in the future. We are going to review the passé composé. We are going to review this. So please don't revisit every single thing because it just takes too long when the course is already heavy. When you have a 1 week program, if you want to revisit that 1 week program, let's say you want to revisit 4 times, guess what? It only takes you 1 month. So here, that's why I really want you to revisit. You want to complete that week and then you want to revisit because your brain loves familiarity. And it's normal. When we learn something, we want to make sure we learn it. We want to make sure we know it. So we want to make sure we review. We want to review. We want to review. We want to review. With a 1 week program, it's great. You can. 6 months program, you will have to move on a bit quicker because it already takes a long time. So here, this is something you want to do. When you complete that week, you want to make sure you revisit it. And also, you will see when you are going to revisit a course that is 1 week, 4 times, you are going to be so sick of it. But that's perfect because if you are sick of it, it means you know it off by heart. You know everything already. This is great. This is what we want. You have memorized everything. So here we want to make sure we keep revisiting after we finish that 1 week. Step number 6. This E is for experiment. This is very interesting. This is a step that students really resonated with in my Europe class and also with my class for East Coast. You want to apply immediately because if you don't use it, you lose it. That's something that's very interesting because you would think in life, with time, we get better at things. The problem with language is if you don't get to a certain threshold, you are losing your French. You are losing it. So I remember I used to be really good at Spanish when I was in high school. I cannot make a sentence now. I haven't used it. I lost it. So it's interesting how you can go up and then go down. That's why languages are so tricky. You have to maintain so much. And here, the thing is, you want to be able to practice on your own. I really want to debunk this myth that you need to have someone to practice with all the time. You can really experiment and use what you learn straight away. So something that we were talking about in the other session is, let's say you learn this new phrase, you can use it with your family members. I know, for example, my mom doesn't speak a word of English, but there are certain things that I keep saying in English all the time to her. For example, I always said to her, okay, it makes sense. I'll do it. She's asking me things. I'm like, sure, I'll do it. She has no idea what I'm talking about, but it's so ingrained in me that it's so natural. It just comes out. So you can speak French with your family. They don't understand, that's fine. If you've learned a phrase and you're like, huh, I love this. I'm gonna start using it. Because remember, learning a language is like self-development. That's a new part of you. You can use that part also with your family, with your friends. You can ask friends and family, hey, quiz me on this. Even if they don't speak the language, they can read, they will be able to see and help you out. Also, another thing that is very important with experimenting is to make sure that you speak out loud. I always want to make sure you speak out loud, even if it's to yourself. Hearing your voice is really powerful because, as we said before, speaking French and speaking another language is extremely daunting. So here I really want to say, do not be scared to speak. Okay, when you have the opportunity. And something that can really help you, I know I've done it a lot, is to record yourself. Record yourself even reading out loud. Record yourself, pretending. This is something I was doing when I was younger with English. I would pretend I was a celebrity and I would answer questions. It's very important for you to see what you don't know. So you are going to start speaking and then say, huh, actually, how do I say this? And in those moments where you practice, this is really where you can learn what's for you. Remember, you want to learn what serves you. So that's why experimenting straight away, practicing straight away. And when I say straight away, it's straight away. You've learned something that day, straight away you want to use it. How do you use it? It might mean that you have to maybe change a word in a phrase. Maybe it is that one phrase you like, love the structure of that phrase, how I can change it to suit me and my life. For example, for me, if I see a sentence like, oh, I have two kids in Italian, there's no point really for me to say I have two kids. I don't have two kids. It's not true. But now what I want to see is how do you say I don't have kids yet? That's more relevant for me. And now I'm just going to go and try to tweak it and use it straight away. So here, make sure you are also using what you learn straight away. It's very important. Now, for our last step is to repeat the joy, love the process. So here, it can sound a little bit cliche, but it's actually really important. Learning a language takes time. It does. And it's important for you to still like enjoy learning French. Because I was talking to one of my students that I had on one-on-one classes, and she said earlier this year to me, she said, Pearl, like, don't push me this year. I'm getting to a point where I'm not enjoying, like, she doesn't want to learn more things. She's happy where she is. And she said to me, I just lost the joy of learning. And I said to her, I completely get it. I get it. You can't always be super excited about things you've been doing for years, but you don't want to have anxiety. Some students were telling me sometimes they are not practicing because they kind of have an anxiety and a stress of here we go, like I've got to do it, like it's hard, like I'm not getting. This is really when you are going to fall off the wagon, where you are going to stop, where that pleasure is like it's not there, that joy is disappearing. So here, this is something I want you to keep. And guess what? When you do a course for a week, it's easier for you to keep that joy and that excitement because you know you are doing this for a week and not 6 months. So here you want to make sure you love the process. I love to say, make sure sometimes when you feel like you know you've got a push, make sure you reward yourself. Just reward yourself. You showed up even today. That's why I'm giving you this bonus because you deserve it. You took time, you deserve a little something. And this is just human nature. We go to work because we get our reward. We don't do things just for fun and pleasure because sometimes it is hard to get that joy. So here, repeat the joy, love the process. So let's summarize. So here, if you want to take a screenshot or a photo, it summarizes everything. That speaker framework. That week, what are we doing that week? We're simplifying, we're focusing on vocab, we forget the grammar. We prioritize, we make sure we learn only what's useful for conversation. We don't need to know every single word in the dictionary. After that, we want to make sure we engage with audio. Leave the books. We don't need them for that week. We focus on audios. Also, we want to make sure that the audios we are listening to, they have a level that is going to suit our French level. You don't want to have resources that are too hard or resources that are too easy. After that, you want to make sure you keep revisiting. You finish that week, fantastic. You want to revisit so you can remember more. Also, we want to make sure as we learn, we want to use it. You experiment. As soon as you learn something new that day, you really want to apply it. Even if it means maybe you will have maybe to tweak that phrase to make sure it suits you. And finally, we repeat with joy. We keep that joy and that excitement because learning a language is fun. It's not a punishment. It's really fun. It's really for you. So this is something you want to keep. So now for, oh, Mikodi, you want to take a picture? I saw you with your phone and I changed the slide. Sorry. So take a picture, take a screenshot of this. So now for the second part, I want to talk about practical prompts and strategies that we already mentioned, but I really want to dive into one especially. So the strategies, and one strategy in particular that I need you to focus on is really this idea of listening. Listening, listening, listening. You know, when we say you want to engage with audios, because listening will help your speaking dramatically. And unfortunately, as I said before, this is a part that is often neglected. And sometimes it's neglected, or sometimes students think they are practicing it, but they're actually not practicing it the right way. So here I want to show you how your listening and hearing will really allow you to transform your speaking. So you really want to be aware that there are two main ways to improve your listening skills. We have what we call active listening and passive listening. So here, I really want you to think like investments. You know, when you invest your money, you can have passive income, so your money is growing passively. So it means that yes, over time is going to grow, but it will take time. And guess what? We have a week. So here, let's talk about those two different strategies. So this active listening, it's an active training. So it means you are actively listening with a strong focus. For example, you are actively listening to be able to understand word for word, meaning that I could give you an audio and ask you, hey, can you write exactly what is being said? Word for word. This is really active. It means you will play it again, play it again, play it again, stop, write. This is really active learning. And you have passive listening, sorry. This is, for example, watching a movie. You watch a movie, your goal is not to understand every single word, but you are going to get more familiarized with the language. It's also necessary. Watching movies help, but if watching movies would make us fluent in French, everyone would be fluent. We would be watching movies every day, all day, and then it will be done. That's why it's passive. Over time, if you watch the same Amelie movie 100 times a week, surely you would memorize a lot of French. But do you have time to do that? Not really. So here for us, for that week, we don't want to do passive listening, meaning the goal for you is not to say, okay, I'm going to listen to a full podcast, a 1 hour podcast, or I'm going to watch a French movie. During that week, this is not what's going to help you when I'm talking about listening. What you want to do is active listening during this week, meaning you want to focus on short audios and videos. Here, I really insist. Those audios and videos and extract of maybe longer form content, you want to focus on like 3 or 5 minutes max, I want to say, of this audio, and then you want to listen to it again and then again, maybe even write down every single word. Like this is really active, 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 active learning. Short, short, short audios. It has to be short because we want to repeat. Remember, repetition equals retention. We forget all the long form for that week. And when you are going to listen, you want to also pay attention to the pace, intonation. The intonation is going up or is going down. What is the pace? Where are people breathing and cutting their words? The vocabulary also they are using. Because here the goal for you when you do an active listening is really to copy. We want to copy. And I remember during one of my retreats last year, mercredi, you were there. I don't know if you were there, but no, you were there. You were there. It was in Provence, and one student said, "Oh, in French, there's no copywriting." Meaning you can just go and steal and copy. And we all laughed. And I was like, yes, in French, and in when you learn a language, there's no copywriting. You can just go and steal and copy what other people are saying, how people are saying it. And how are you going to be able to mimic? By listening. A book will never give you that. Even if the book is giving you the words, for example, that bonus lesson that I'm giving you, when I'm giving you the phrases, I am also reading them in a certain way. It's also the case for some of my videos on Instagram, for example. You know, when I repeat a phrase, I always repeat with different intonations, a different tone. And because I want people to be able to repeat the same way because it is natural. And here to become and speak French naturally, you need to be able to listen and mimic what you hear, not necessarily what you read. So here you are going to ask me, okay, so what should I listen to? Tell me. Here, remember, we really want to have resources that are going to match our French level. So if you are more a beginner, I want to say A1 to A2. The goal here is for you to get used to the sounds of French and also get that basic vocabulary. So the resources that I recommend is to watch French kids cartoon. No shame in the game. We need to get there. I recommend two cartoons very popular in France. We have Petit Ours Brun and Oui Oui. It's so funny. Oui Oui, it's this cute character. So here, why kids cartoon? Because they use simple words, simple vocabulary, clear pronunciation, they repeat a lot. And also, something that I think is really good is they don't necessarily slow down the pace too much. The pace is still the same, it's just the vocabulary and the sentence structures are easy, but the pace, they still speak normally, which I like. I also recommend when you are at this level, you can use slow French news. And it's a podcast and they slow down a lot. So here, what's good with that is now they are going to use more sophisticated words because you don't want to be too basic, even if you're a beginner. The only problem that I have with that is the pace sometimes can be a bit too slow and not natural. But that's why I think if you pair those two together, you get a good mix. That vocabulary. So with the kids, French kids cartoon, you get that vocabulary that's kind of low, but the way they speak is kind of a normal pace. And with slow French news, the vocabulary is quite high and the pace is low. So I think it's a good mix to have both. So for beginners. Now, listenings that I recommend for intermediate learners, more B1, B2. The goal here is to understand a variety of speakers, meaning different accents, and also topics, and to expand your vocabulary. At this stage, all the basic vocab, you already have it. You want to expand. What I recommend, TED Talks in French. This is everything because that's this is really what changed my English years ago is really to focus on those TED Talks. I remember the first time I was introduced, I was like, who's TED? I had no idea what it was. And game changer. TED Talks in French. You have a lot of TED Talks on their website, but also on YouTube. There are playlists with TED Talks. And what's good is like you can just pick a topic you like. So you are going to learn something. Here, remember what I said. We want short extract. So you're not going to do the full TED Talk. Focus on the opening 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Okay? If you want to listen to the full TED Talks for your passive learning, why not? But once again, remember, not during that week. During that one specific week, you are going to focus on the first 3 minutes, 5 minutes. max. So TED Talks are really good. Another resource that I recommend is called the RFI, RFI, Français Facile. RFI, it's a radio station. They also have, if I'm not wrong, a TV channel, and they do great slow news. It's very clear, very reliable. It's also neutral in terms of political, views. So RFI, I really recommend it because here, once again, it is slow, but not too slow. Like beginners would struggle with it. It's perfect for intermediate. Perfect. So TED Talks, RFI, Français Facile is going to be great for you to find your audios. Remember, you do your own clips of 3, 5 minutes. I always say start with the first three and then you do the first five, but not everything at once for that week. For my advanced students, here the goal for you is to refine your comprehension of complex ideas, okay? Nuances and also formal speeches. So here the resources that I recommend. I really recommend public speeches of political figures, for example, or French news. When I was learning English, I was listening to Barack Obama speeches, and I've learned so many words. And they were super advanced, but once again, and I found very good resources on the BBC. The BBC, they have this space for learning English, and they were putting some speeches from Barack Obama, and that was great because I would listen not to the full speech, but listen to 3, 4 minutes and focus on what he was saying. I can't believe that at the time I had no idea, and now I understand. Just to show you progression happens. So here it can be political, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something else, but most of the time, public speeches are political figures and also French news. That's why when students are telling me, oh, I'm listening to the French news and they are more beginners, I'm thinking, why would you listen to the news? They speak so fast. The vocabulary is very advanced. This is how you get discouraged because now you're trying to listen to the news, to listen to the radio. You're trying to do the right thing, but this is a resource that is not adapted for your level. You know how you want to go step by step. So here, if you are more advanced, I really recommend that. And once again, you can find speeches on YouTube, and also have the subtitles sometimes in French because you are advanced. So now the subtitles in French are pretty good. So we talked about where to find the resources. Now, what's going to be the action plan? You leave this class, you want to start your week. What are we doing? So here you will need at least 2 phases in this plan. The phase one is going to be the planning. Because let's say on Monday, you want to do, okay, you want to start on Monday. What are you doing? So you need to plan. You need to decide which audios you will listen to each day. Great. You are going to do the TED Talks. Perfect. Which TED Talk? You need to go find a TED Talk you like. Okay. You need to find that. You need to organize your schedule. When are you going to learn? Are you going to have time next week? This is really things you want to think about. Is next week busy for me? Maybe it is. So maybe it's not going to be next week because the goal is really for you to stick to that one week. So organize your schedule. Something that I always recommend, you want to front load your learning, meaning you want to learn early in the day. And sometimes it might mean that you will have to wake up a little bit earlier. But what I've noticed for myself, but also for my students, when it happens last thing in the day, you get tired or something happens and now you don't want to study. So that's why I always say trying to do it in the morning if you have time. And remember, you listen, you don't take notes, you don't need to stop, you can listen to it. So it can be something you listen while you are getting ready, while you are driving, walking to work. This is really something that you can put with another activity. You also need in your planning to know what vocabulary and phrases you will focus on. You also need to know how you're going to make your practice conversational and adapt it to your level. So this is your first phase. This is planning. The problem here with that planning, it's great to plan, but the challenge is that planning takes time. Sourcing what you are going to learn becomes time consuming, and this is the trap. This is the trap because sometimes, it's not sometimes, I see that a lot. Students, because they DIY and they learn online on their own, they try to DIY a lot of things and they need to find the right video. And it happens a lot. Some students, they said to me, do you have a video on YouTube about this? Because I love learning from you, but I've noticed you don't have that video. And then I don't have that video. So now they have to find another person. And they're like, okay, I need to, it takes so long just to find that one lesson when you should just be able to do the lesson. So sourcing is going to take time. It's necessary, but this is really a trap you want to avoid because time is really the enemy, if I can say that. We are all busy. We want to make sure we can get things done. And also remember, we have a week. So here the planning depends how quick you are, will take you probably even a week already. And then the second phase is the learning phase, is that 1 week. You see here now we're not just in 1 week work, we added more days and even weeks just trying to plan. And the thing is, by planning, you're not even sure if what you've done is as, efficient, but it is part of the process. And in that second week, now you can learn because you have your plan. Okay? So here, I have spent months planning your next 7 days. I even want to say I have spent 2 years planning this. So in my mind, I went, okay, we are going to go Monday to Sunday, and I'm going to fully organize what my students are going to do. Why? Because after 10 years of teaching French, I've noticed that if students knew less, but they mastered it better, they memorized it better, they would be able to speak better. And it's really seeing students falling off the wagon, coming back, stopping, going again. I just realized it is great, but sometimes if they knew just some phrases here and there, they will be able to speak way more. So if you follow me on social media, I'm sure you have seen this. You have seen photos of me saying that something is coming, something exciting is coming, talking about the number 7 all over. I received so many messages. People, you know what people were asking me? Some people were asking me if I was pregnant. Exciting news. I'm like, come on, if I'm pregnant, do you really think I'm going to do all those announcements? That was really funny. But here, it wasn't to talk about a pregnancy. I'm not. It was to talk about my new course, which is in a way actually my baby. 2 years in making, 7-day French conversation. So here, the irony is this is my shortest course, but it took me the longest. We went back and forth with my team. They didn't like what I was doing initially. We had to change many things. And when we both agreed, we were both really happy with what we were going to do. It was really hard to cut the fluff because in French, there are so many things. It was so hard to make decisions on what are we going to teach? What is the most important things? What's the most common things? We really need to teach the most common, the most common. But I didn't want this course to be a course where you are going to cram because there's no point for you knowing everything. We just wanted to make sure we give you what was necessary to help you see real results in only those 7 days. So what are you going to get in those 7 days? So you have daily listening lessons. They're short, engaging, no grammar. This is not a course when I am teaching grammar. It's quick and easy, so every lesson is less than 30 minutes. Because even that one lesson, I wanted you to be able to revisit it. If you want to go through the lesson twice, it would take you maybe an hour, but at least you would have done it twice, not just once. But here, once is enough. It's all about conversation. So you will hear a lot of audios, and all the phrases and the words are expressions you can use right away. You can experiment with them right away. Also, we have decided to put these lessons in 4 different categories because I wanted to make sure that you had different levels. Level A1, level B2, level A2, and B1. So you have resources that are meeting your level. And also, those lessons, they don't require you to write anything. For me, that was really interesting because I love to write things. But because I want you to be able to incorporate this course to your daily life, so be able to do the dishes and at the same time practice, we put a lot of exercises where you have to listen and you have to repeat certain things and then you have to translate certain things. Everything is in your brain. You just have to use your mind to practice so you can also memorize. So here, the course is open for enrollment, but only for the students who have joined my live class at the moment. People don't know what's happening. I will announce it later on this week, maybe tomorrow or the day after. So 7-day conversation, if I summarize it, it's a 7-day course, 1-week course to help you improve your listening and conversational skills. This is not a course, and I really want to repeat, I'm not going to explain tenses. We are not going to do verbs. Here is just a course to help you speak more, memorize more phrases and words for conversation. You have 4 levels available. You can do the A1 level, A2 level, B1 level, and B2 level. It's very exciting for me because to know that I can get feedback in 7 days as a teacher, it's amazing. To tell you, oh, by next week you will be done, it makes me so happy. So let's talk about the curriculum. So what are we doing each day after the other? So every day you have a theme. Okay, so you have a theme from Monday to Saturday, and then the last day, Sunday, you have what we call a test day. So here, remember, the idea is really to track. We still want to see what we need to track because maybe for test day, you're going to realize, oh my God, I memorized everything, or oh, I forgot this. I need to revisit. Remember, I need to revisit the course until you do that test day and everything is known. And by the end of your test day, you will know, oh my God, I've learned that many expressions, that many words, and then you can add that to your tracker. Because remember, to be able to speak French fluently, you need to know between 3,000 and 3,500 words. You really want to track. Tracking your progress is important because it allows you to see when you plateau or when you are regressing. So it's really important. So how can you start? I will put the link for you to join and to start the course in the chat after I finish presenting everything, and then I will also answer your questions. For the students who are going to watch this on replay, I will put all the links below the video. So here you can pick your level. So you can join and just do one individual level. So you can say, I just want to have access to A1 and I want to do just 1 week of A1, and it's 197 for that course, one level. Here, this is one payment. This is not a membership. One payment, and then the course is yours. You have lifetime access on the course. Or maybe you are in between 2 levels, or maybe you want to do 3 levels. Here you can get the full course bundle. So you get access to level A1, A2, B1, B2. And I can already tell you that we are working on C1 and C2 for next year, and it will be added to your course portal when you get the bundle. So you're gonna get the C1 and C2 for free pretty much. So here, this is $497. This is one payment. Very important. There is a special discount. So all my past and current students, so from Pearl's Classroom, if you've done the pronunciation course, if you join my retreat, if you've done private lessons, if you purchased anything from me in the past, you get a $100 discount on the full bundle. Because here, this course is really going to complete what you've been doing in the classroom, what you've been doing with me one-on-one. It is really going to solidify all the work you've been doing. And to be able to get the discount, you will need a special discount code. 2 weeks ago, I sent you an email called "Can You Keep a Secret?" It was a very cryptic email where I was giving you a code. I didn't explain what it was for, but there is a code in this email. So check your emails if you can see. It's an email called "Can You Keep a Secret?" If you can't find this email or you didn't receive it for some reason, but you were a previous student, you did purchase something from me in the past, it's okay. Just email me at myfrenchstory.team@gmail.com and we will send you the discount code. So you will see at checkout, all you have to do is to put the discount code and then the price will go down. So here, only for previous and current students, if you purchase the bundle, it's $397 instead of $497. But that is not all. That is not all. This is only for my students who are here live. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry for the students who are going to watch the replay. But when you join live, you always get stuff. I'm telling you, you always get something because I really want to reward people who are joining live. I know you really wanted to join and life happens. There's a lot of things happening, but it's only for the students who are here live with me. If you decide to join now or in the next 2 to 3 hours, if you purchase one individual level or the full bundle, you will also get a Zoom call with me. So it's going to be a private lesson that we will have after you finish your week to have a conversation. It's going to be a great way for us to evaluate your level, get your feedback, and get you going. So here you can request that Zoom call at any time. I know some students are going to say, I want to do the course, I want to revisit. And guess what? You can. It's only 1 week. So for all the students who are going to join now during the masterclass and in the next 2 to 3 hours, you will be able to also get that Zoom call with me. And I can't wait. I can't wait to chat. And honestly, for me to be able to get feedback from you in a week and be able to assess your progress in a week time potentially, it's amazing. If you join after, and I'm sorry again for the students who are watching the replay, you won't be able to get the Zoom call with me. It is just for the students in the masterclass. I see some questions in the chat. I'm coming in a sec. So let's summarize everything. If you were a student, if you are a current student and you get the bundle, this is you have $100 discount with that secret code that normally you already have or that you can request. And if you also decide to join now, no matter if you get the bundle or the individual level, you get the Zoom call with me. So I'm really excited about that. Here, the starting date. We are starting next week on Monday, October 27th. So here, why are we starting together? Because usually all my courses, they're more like self-paced, but here, because it's the first time, I want us to do it together. You will see under each lesson, you will have a comment section that's going to be open where you will be able to ask questions, where you will be able to connect with other students who are doing the course with you. Why? Because when you are going to see, and this is human nature, but when we see other people succeed, complete the course, do the lesson, guess what? It just motivates you. Because learning a language can be a very lonely process. I want to make sure that during this week, we are here for each other and we are doing this together. So we are starting on Monday, October 27th. So the first day will be available on Monday. And it's perfect because it really allows you to get ready for next week. Even just knowing and what time of the day are you going to do the lesson? Morning, during lunchtime, after work, you already need to be ready and to prepare for it. And also with the bonus lesson, you can do a warm up. You can like, okay, get into your French and then Monday, you start. The end date is going to be Sunday, November 2nd. Here, I want to reassure you, if you're thinking, oh my God, this week I'm traveling, I can't do this time, it's okay. Once you purchase the course, it is yours, lifetime access. This is your course, and you can have access to it any time. It's just the kickoff is next Monday. So today you have two choices. It's either you DIY your week, you can totally do that. I showed you the resources. You can do that. You know that whole planning thing, but you are going to lose a lot of time and effort. Or you can join the 7-day French conversation, have everything done for you to your level, everything is packaged for you. And in a week, we don't even have to talk about it. So here it's really a way for you to fast track your results. So quickly, I want to see if there are any other questions in the chat. You can always email me at myfrenchstory.team at gmail.com. If you have any questions concerning the live training today, concerning your bonus, concerning the 7-day French conversation, I am really excited to start next Monday. I hope you are going to be in that first cohort. And by next Sunday, it's crazy to think that. And by next Sunday, be done. Probably book your one-on-one call with me. And merci. Thank you so much for taking time to join the masterclass today. I hope you were able to get a lot of information. I really hope you're going to focus on listening. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer. And merci, 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 merci. Bonne soirée. Et moi, je vais me coucher. I'm going to bed. Merci tout le monde. Salut. Salut.